This podcast is brought to you by Convo Cloth, the official clothing apparel of the NBC podcast. For the latest apparel, please go to www.nothingbutconvos.com. Now, let's get into the latest episode of the NBC podcast with your boy, S. McCann. What's good, people? It's the NBC podcast with your boy, S. McCann. And this is episode 29, Eagles Week 12 review. And in this week, we lost a divisional game against the Giants. The Giants didn't have their receivers. Daniel Jones is a bum. But somehow, we made Daniel Jones look like a decent quarterback. And no knock to them. They won, and they were the better team that day. But it goes along with this season, it's going to be some growing pains. And so in this episode, I break down what happened during this loss, the players that was disappointing during this loss, and this week 13, outlook against the Jets. And so, sit back, relax, let's get it. Week 12, Eagles versus Giants. This game was a game that we needed to win just to stay afloat in the division. Now we're 0-2 in the division, and we would have been 1 or 2 games back of Dallas to put a little heat on them, but we couldn't get it done. And in this game, this was one of the worst games Jalen Hurt has played as a professional. Well, I think it's the worst. 3 interceptions, 14 of 31, 129 yards. We held the Giants to 13 points. We only scored 7. And that was a rushing touchdown from Boston Scott. And it seemed like we dropped the ball on this one. We didn't come to play. Execution of the coaching staff, execution of the players, the urgency of this is a big game. We need to win this game, division game. We didn't come to play. The factors, to me, of why we lost, number one, obviously, was the quarterback. You can't throw 3 interceptions and you think that you have a chance to win the game or can win a game in the NFL. The coaching staff, it was terrible. You have weapons in Dallas Goedert, and he has 0 yards. You have a weapon in Devontae Smith. He only has 22 yards, 2 receptions. It seems like you don't have these plays to get these guys open or just throw them the ball. Just throw them the ball and see what happens. But again, I don't know what Jalen Hurt was seeing. Was he pressing? Was he just trying to make things happen? I don't know. But this week, he was the leading rusher. 8 carries, 77 yards, 9.6 yards a carry. Our leading receiver was Kenneth Gainwell with 3 receptions, 32 yards, 10 yards a reception. it seems like in this game they just regressed back to the team in the beginning of the season. We threw 31 times, okay, but we got to make them things count. We got to make it count. And then in the beginning of the game, the defensive coordinator, I don't know what he was playing. You made Daniel Jones look like this all-pro quarterback, which he ain't. He's borderline. But who knows? Who knows what happened? It was Michael Strahan's retirement ceremony, politics. I don't know. All I know is we lost that game and it was bad. But the quarterback had a bad game. He gave you a chance to win at the end of the game. If you have a quarterback that gives you a chance to win any game, you can move forward with that quarterback in the future. But if your players don't come through for your quarterback or have your quarterback's back when he's struggling, it's a shame. You have one job, and I'm talking about Jalen Reagor. You have one job. You get paid to block and catch the ball. But the first thing you get paid to do is catch the ball. And that's something that he hasn't been doing this whole year. And you can't fault the kid for getting drafted where he got drafted at. That's not his fault. He came out in the draft. A team drafted him. He could have been a third round, fourth round, second round pick, but they drafted him in the first round. And so this loss is on the hands of Jalen Hurt because he threw 3 picks, but he still gave you a chance to win the game. And so 2 passes was in the hands of Jalen Reagor. Both was touchdowns. That would have gave your quarterback some redemption by throwing those 3 picks, and you didn't come through. I don't know if he can come back from that. I just don't know. I just don't think he's a NFL player at this point, based off of he doesn't get many yards on the kickoff, many yards on the punt return. He doesn't show his quickness, his explosiveness that they said that he had in college. He sure as hell don't show hands as an NFL receiver, and he can't catch. Nelson Aguilar played for us for, I think, 3-4 years. He was explosive, and you seen the speed when he got the ball in his hands. Jalen Reagor, you don't see that. You don't see the quickness. You don't see anything. Yeah, Nelson Aguilar dropped balls and all of that, but you seen the speed. When he gets the ball in his hands, he's not thinking about it. It seems like Jalen Reagor is scared to get hit out here. Which, if you're playing scared, you can't play in the NFL. So the loss, yes, it's automatically going to be put on the quarterback's shoulders because he threw 3 picks. But as an NFL receiver, you cannot drop 2 touchdowns back to back. You got to redeem yourself. That's what you do. You catch the ball. Come on. And this loss was on the hands of Jalen Reagor. Stone hands of Jalen Reagor, yes. But the outcome of this game shows you that it's much more or many more problems with this team other than the players. It's the front office. The front office can't draft. Jalen Reagor should have never been drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles. And that's evident. This loss should be on the hands of Howie Roseman for drafting Jalen Reagor. It's coming back to bite us. Every week, it's coming back to bite us. He does something, doesn't catch the ball, doesn't perform on the other side of Devontae Smith. And so now Devontae Smith is getting doubled and safety over him and all of that. Jalen Reagor is just over there, man coverage, can't get open. Or if he's open, he can't catch the ball. So this is on Howie. He can't draft. And we didn't sign a free agent or a veteran, try to trade for a veteran receiver. This is what this team needs. This team needs a veteran, good receiver that can get open and catch the ball. We had it for free if we would have put a claim in for Odell Beckham. Just Odell on the field is just showing that defense respect. But again, I'm not a front office guy. I don't know what direction they're going in. I just don't know. And so one report this week was the front office is split between Jalen Hurts. I don't know. I just don't want them to do something stupid in the draft or give up draft capital to trade for a quarterback. It's just your team has many holes in it that you need to address instead of trading for a guy that's up in age or doing all of these things. I don't advise it, because you still have a young coach that's trying to fill his way. You still have a young team that's trying to tack on these wins and trying to get experience in the football, in the NFL, to win games. And that's all it's about. It's not about how it looks. It's not about, oh, he won with his arm, he did this, he did that. It's all about winning football games and going to the playoffs. That's more revenue. More revenue for the team, concessions, all of that. But that's only if you have a home game. TV money and all of that, it does affect the outlook of your team. If you make the playoffs, you still get more revenue. I don't know what will happen moving forward. I don't know. But Coach Nick Sirianni said the front office just want to win football games to get in the playoffs. That's what he said. And so that's their message to him, to win football games. And that's the message to the team, to win football games. And to me, it doesn't matter how it looks, as long as you get a W. As long as you get a W. And so this week, we have the Jets. Jalen Hurts ankle is hurt from the Giants game. And we don't know if he might play. It's a game time decision, but the reports out there are saying that it looks like he's not going to be playing. He's going to be out. So you have Gardner Minshew starting in place of him. And another report out there was like Jalen Hurts is the guy. And if he could go, he would be starting, but he's hurt, so you got to go with the backup. And I don't know. If Gardner Minshew has a good game, what happens? What happens then? Do you start him next week? Who knows what they might do? Or will you say, well, Jalen Hurts is my starter and I'm starting him? And if he does have another bad game, what are you going to do? You're going to have a short leash? Are you going to pull him? What's going to happen? Time will tell. Because if it don't look pretty, Jalen Hurts is good. But if it looks like something nice out there with Gardner Minshew, you might have to just stay with him. Because I'm about trying to make these playoffs. And we'll see what the coaching staff does with a different quarterback. Can they adjust? I don't know. But this game should be the Miles Sanders show. All of the running backs are a little banged up. We don't know if Boston Scott will play this week. And Miles Sanders, they said that he will be playing this week. So all the carries go to him. We'll see. Kenneth Gainwell be in the mix. We'll see. I don't want to see Jalen Reagor this game. He needs to be benched. Just to understand the magnitude of what you need to work on and how to be better as an NFL player, receiver, catching the ball. Obviously, he has talent to make it to the league, but to hone in on your skills, you have to. Our receiving core ain't right. It's a little terrible, especially when you don't get Dallas Goedert involved. You got Devontae Smith, but who else? You got to give Quez some looks. And I don't understand, you not even giving him anything. I would bench Jalen Reagor for Greg Ward just to show a sign, look, we had that game if you would have caught the ball. This is the NFL. Every game matters. This is the NFL, and every game matters. It's a business. So if you don't perform, they're going to bring someone else in to perform. And so with that, people, it's a wrap. One.
Sound nothing like it.
So that was episode 29, Eagles Week 12 review. So in this episode, I broke down how we lost that game against the Giants, the factors of losing that game, and my outlook of Week 13 against the Jets. And I hope that we do bench Jalen Reagor to send a message to the team that you have to perform at the highest level. And it seems like Jalen Hurts might not be playing this game due to an ankle injury. So we'll see what Gardner Minshew would do this week. And I hope we come out with a dub. And then we can just break down scenarios of what might happen the next week and moving forward in this season with the quarterbacks. So with that, people, stay safe, give respect, and show love. One. Make sure you go listen to all old and new NBC podcast episodes on all podcasting platforms. And please go to www.nothingbutconvos.com for the latest apparel.